Okay, there's GP here. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Please type a yes if I am and no otherwise in your text box. Yeah. Let me just send a. Okay. So I'll send a message also for those who have a issue with the audio. Yes, I'm just sending a message to everyone. Uh, Type yes if audible, no otherwise. That will tell me that we are on the right track. Okay, great. So we are fine with respect to the audio. I have with me Jijo also with me, and he's joined me from Bombay.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, yeah. So thanks, Jijo. I hope all of us are over with IFT now. Mentally, physically, all of us got over with it yesterday. Some of you might be carrying the euphoria or the sadness of IFT. Please forget about it. It's end. It's over. There's nothing to do about IFT now. We have done what you could have. Whether it's a good or a bad performance, that's the end of the story of IFT. For those who have done well in IFT, the story will restart after CAT. The next 7 days, yes, are then are meant essentially for CAT, and let us not think of anything else except CAT. Okay? Jijo, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, so same thing. So we have the question is what can we do in 7 days? Okay, I've already seen a lot of queries coming up that I'm stuck at some score. I know that some of you are really happy with wherever you are now, and some of you are really frustrated with wherever you are. Okay, but we still have 7 days to, if at all, we can do something, and I'm sure that's what we should focus on. That's what we'll try and do today. Yeah, GP.
Yeah, and so let's get started with the session. The session will be taken by Jijo. I will keep pitching in. Jijo, you can take over from here. But before we start, let me just have a word of thanks for BML Munjal, Brij Mohan Lal Munjal University, BML Munjal University based in Gurgaon, which has agreed to help us sponsor this thing and reach out to a large number of students. Okay. Yeah, Jijo, over to you.
All right. So there are a lot of queries that I'm getting. So what we'll do is we'll kind of go through the session, and if there are any specific queries that needs to be addressed, we'll do that towards the end. I'm getting a lot of queries saying I'm stuck at a particular score. What needs to be done? What is a good score? How do I keep calm in the last 7 days or during the test and everything? I'll start by this quote: "Is all you can do is all you can do, but all you can do is enough." And that's kind of the attitude that we should carry. We have done everything that we can for the CAT, and that should be good enough for the test. So, GP, I think you'll have to click the slide, so I don't have control.
I'll do that. Yeah.
All right. So there are three things that we want to discuss. One, we want to talk about what to expect with respect to the CAT. And there we'll spend, me and GP will spend in terms of giving you certain specific tips. And then on the D-Day, what needs to be done, and what are the things that we have to do for the next 7 days. So this is what we thought as an agenda. I'm sure that you have more questions. We'll take that towards the end. So for the time being, we may not be directly answering the questions that you're typing. So what we'll do is we'll kind of keep all the questions. If your question is not answered today, we'll do that towards the end. There are about 700 of you already here. So I don't know how many queries that we can take. So otherwise we can take the questions offline. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to add to what you're saying, Jijo, when I'm looking at the queries which are coming in the chat box and the Q&A box, I find most of them to be similar. So I think we'll be able to manage, we'll be able to handle most of the queries. And some of these queries have already been taken care of in the presentation that you have. Okay.
All right.
Jijo, so let's move to the next slide.
Great. So we'll start with what to expect. So we can move to the next one. So there are a couple of things that we have. So one is, I think somewhere in the month of June or July, the CAT convener said something. So he said that we plan to make changes to the test rationalite weights assigned to the different components, so on and so forth. And then about a week ago, I think, they came out with a sample CAT, and which had this structure. I can't see the there you are.
It takes a little time.
All right, great. So we have this VRC, and the bomb was there were 24 questions on reading comprehension, and there were 10 questions which had no negative marking. And surprisingly, out of the 10 questions which had no negative marking, 6 of them had actually had options, and then you had no negative marking. DLR 24 questions with which are MCQ and 8 which are non-MCQ, and QA is 25 MCQ and 9 non-MCQ. What if this is a CAT that you're going to handle? Then 27% of the questions do not have any negative marking. Also, many of them do not have any options. So that is one thing. And the second component, of course, 70% of the questions in VRC is RC, and the third is scientific calculator that is available. I think the question that you had asked, can we trust them? Is it how the CAT is going to be? And these were the questions that many have asked over the last few weeks. And we also have changed the mocks in the last 4 mocks to this particular structure. The reason why I believe that we can trust this is because if you look at last year, when they came out with the sample paper, the structure remained the same. The content did not remain the same. By content, I mean the specific type of question that got asked in, let's say, verbal, and that was in the sample test, was different from what came in the CAT, but the number of questions remained the same. So what we are going with an assumption that in the CAT there will be 24 reading comprehension question, which is 2 RCs with 3 question each, and 3 RC with 6 question each, 10 non-negative marking question, 4 DI sets, 4 LR set, 1 DI set which is non-MCQ, 1 LR set which is non-MCQ, QA about 25 odd questions which will be MCQ, and 9 non-MCQ questions. So that's what we'll assume. So what we'll do now is make a little bit of answering a lot of queries that you guys were asking with respect to what is the score that we need to do. So you want to add anything, GB, to this?
No, essentially the same thing that if you look at last year's sample paper, and the actual CAT paper, the structure was identical, which means 34-16 in terms of quant and DI, 34-16 again in terms of verbal and LR, and again out of those 34 verbal questions, 18 verbal and 16 RC, sorry. So the actual paper was a replica of the sample paper in terms of the structure, but in terms of content it was not. For example, the sample paper last year had 5 questions of FIJ, which were not there in the actual paper. Similarly, the sample paper had 7 or 9 questions of grammar or sentence correction. The actual paper had only couple of them. So we can go with the structure. We cannot go with the content. Content is something which will change. Okay? But the structure is something which will work for us.
What that will also mean is, for many of you, verbal reasoning would be a disaster, and some of you will be very happy because you have 24 ready competent questions, right? So that depends upon how good you are in. So let's start with looking at a little bit in depth in terms of what our prediction or the most likely scenario would be. And this, so if I start by verbal, the difficulty level what we are expecting is to be slightly higher than CAT 2014. And the composition, of course, is like 24 RCs, 2 into 3 plus 3 into 6, with 10 questions with no negatives. Let's talk a little bit about good attempts. Obviously, you're going to attempt all the 10 non-negative questions. If you don't attempt, it's like stupidity, I think. Okay. And from the remaining 24 reading comprehension, a good attempt would be about 18. And a good marks, when I say good marks, I'm looking at about 95 percentile in that particular section, would be about 50. And the bare minimum to clear the sectional cutoff, the bare minimum that you need, that's 36. When I say bare minimum, if you look at all the IIMs, they have one criteria which says that you have to get at least an 85 percentile in each of the section. Let's say, for example, you're doing well in DILR, you're doing well in QA, VRC is not your strength. And then what you must do, therefore, is to somehow get 36 marks, which is getting 12 questions correct in VRC, and try and maximize from the rest. GP, anything you want to add here?
Not really, except a minor thing. Now, these 36 marks that we are saying is a minimum mark for the student who belongs to a general category. So there's a general category student. If you happen to be a NCOBC, okay, or if you happen to be a SC or a ST category candidate, the numbers will go down. I will say an ST candidate needs to look at something like a 9 to 10, and a OBC, NC-OBC candidate needs to look at something like a 11 to 12 questions. So something like 27 to 30 marks for an ST candidate. SC could be 30 to 33. NC-OBC could be around 33, and general category in any case is 36. So broadly, to me, it is 9 to 12 net correct questions is what we are looking at. Yeah, Jijo, over to you.
Yeah, so we'll also tell you our logic as to how we arrived at these marks. That we'll do it in the next slide. Currently, you go with these figures that we are saying. Okay. And if I look at the next section, which is DI and LR, we are expecting that it's going to be very similar to that of CAT 2014, which means moderate to difficult kind of a section. And the composition, as per the sample test, 16 DI, 16 LR, 4 questions each in 4 sets for the 4 non-MCQ questions in both DI and LR. We are basically saying that the good attempts to get a very good marks is to kind of solve 5 sets out of the 8 sets that you have. 5 sets that will probably give you about 20 questions, which is attempt, and a good marks, which is about 95 percentile marks would be in the range of 50. And the bare minimum again that what you need is to hit 3 sets. So if on a worst case scenario, let's say for whatever happens, you're leaving DILR section by attempting 12 question net correct. That at least ensure that you have a fighting chance to get calls from the IIM. So obviously the same logic goes as CP was saying for the ST candidate probably will be about 9 questions, for the general category 12. That's what we're talking about, the bare minimum. What we want to obviously try and do is do as many sets as possible and push it really up. So that's with respect to DI and LR. And when it comes to quantitative aptitude, if you remember the last year, the CAT 14 paper was I think that was the easiest of all the paper in QA. Yeah, there is it. Okay. The QA was easier. And this year probably will be slightly more. There is some question that has been asked as to the level of difficulty of these papers with respect to our mocks. How does that compare when we say this? GP, want to take that? I think that's an important question.
Sure. If you look at most of the mocks that you have, while there is a varying level of difficulty, but broadly, almost all our mocks in terms of quantitative were more difficult than CAT 14, that is. And I would believe that will be true this time also. So if in the career launcher mock CAT test series, you are able to on an average attempt about 20 questions, you can be reasonably sure that you should be able to attempt about 24 to 25 questions in the CAT paper. Okay? DILR by and large slightly more difficult than CAT, and important thing is when I look at DILR of CAT 14, in that paper, out of the 4 sets of DI and 4 sets of LR, all 8 were combined into a single section and given to you. Attempting more than 5 sets would have been difficult, and which is where these 5 sets come, because we expect DILR to be similar to last year. That attempting 5 sets in 1 hour should be good enough. And by and large, DILR has also been slightly more difficult. Verbal, I would say, is again slightly more difficult. So by and large, when we design mocks, we look at the expected level of difficulty and go about 10% higher in terms of level of difficulty. Because in the actual exam, you will have certain amount of pressure which is not there when you're taking a mock CAT. Okay, so that's the broad structure in which we look at. So in the worst case, you should do as many questions as you do in the mock CAT series. In the best case, you will end up doing about 4 to 5 questions more than what you do in mock CATs as compared to the actual CAT. Yeah, Jijo, over to you.
So again, so if I look at the composition, which is 25 MCQ and 9 non-MCQ, a good attempt would be about hitting about 20. You're going to attempt all the 9 non-MCQ, I'm sure, because there is no negative marking. I think that 5 of them you can do a serious attempt, and remaining 20 from the MCQ, that'll be pretty awesome attempt, about 25 serious attempt. And then try and look at about 65 odd marks. This will be very good. These are obviously assuming that it's going to be easy to moderate kind of a paper. And the minimum marks clear in the cutoff anyway would be about 40. That'll be about 13 questions. So what you essentially see is this is something that we want to start saying here, is that you might have certain sections which is still your Achilles heel. For example, for some of you, it could be QA. For some of you, it is DLR. and some of it's a combination of these two questions. What you want to do is hope that in one section you're really going to rock, but what you really want to do in other section you must have that minimum score, and that to me it's about the range of 12 to 13 questions to about 36 marks. So this is so what we are saying is this is a person who is doing well in a particular section. This is what they should do. I think the next if you can click one, yeah, that is it.
Yeah.
So your 1 hour in your 1 hour, the job ideally, I'm talking about an ideal situation. Your job is in the first 30 minutes you must clear the cutoff, which means in the first 30 minutes you are attacking 12 questions net and you're getting 36, and the next 30 minutes is what you're trying to maximize your score. This probably can give you a rough idea as to how you can look at each of these sections. I'm sure that you've been taking too many mocks, and this is probably what you're anyways doing. For those of you who are struggling to clear, facing difficulty in, let's say, one area, and then your target would be in that area somehow clear the cutoffs, and hope that in the other two areas you're maximizing your score. GP, you want to add?
Yeah. Just to add to what you said, the section which is your difficult section, which you struggle to, look at attempting 15 questions, getting almost everything right, you will clear the cutoff. Okay. That to me, that will be the most important thing. If suppose for many students come back and say RC is something I struggle a lot to, I'm not able to handle, that's okay. 1 hour, 15 questions gives you about 4 minutes per question. Can you just look at doing 15 questions from selected questions from the passages and a few of the MCQs? The non-MCQs and the zero negative, in any case, all of them have to be attempted. But if you can attempt about 15 questions in a section with reasonably good accuracy, you will by and large clear the sectional cutoffs. And just to repeat, the sectional cutoff will be anything from 9 to 12 or 13 questions, depending upon your category. If you belong to a general category, you should be looking at 12 to 13 questions net correct in a section. At the other extremes are the ST and the PH candidates. For them, the number is around 9, on the high side 10. So depending upon your category, look at attempting 9 to 13 questions minimum or in net correct answers. And weak area, just ensure 15 attempts with reasonably good accuracy, and you should be safe in that particular section. Yeah, Jijo.
Here, one more thing I want to say is that when we are talking, and I think we are talking like you have to attempt, you have to get 99.9 percentile or 99.5 percentile. You want to target the top schools, and I'm sure that there are a lot of you here who are also looking at schools beyond the CAT, beyond the IIMs, and want to get at least about 95 percentile overall. Okay, so what we are saying at one extreme is to hit about 170 plus overall score with about 50, 50, 70 in the three kind of a section. So that is one extreme. Other extreme, if you get 85 percentile in each of the section, and then overall I'm sure there will be about 90 percentile. So at the bare minimum is 12 plus 12 plus 12, which is about 36 to about 40 attempts, and on the other extreme will be about 65 to 70 attempts. That's the range. So let's talk a bit about this score logic. It's just we're not going to spend too much time on this. Just to so this is what we looked at. Is we looked at CAT 2014 and looked at the percentile in each of the sections. Remember in CAT 2014 there were two sections, QA, DI and VALR, on 150 each. So 85 percentile in QA, DI was 66, VALR was 60, and we kind of made certain assumptions and then came out with this rough estimate of what this CAT 15 likely score would be. So our estimate is about 85 percentile, like we said, 38, 36, 42. That'll be about 12 to 13 questions. And if you want to hit 97 percentile in each of the section, you're looking at a score of about 55 to 60. That will be getting about 20 net correct. And if you want to hit 99 percentile in each of the section, GP, what will that be? About 99 percentile if you want to hit in each of the sections?
Yeah, 99 percentile would mean a couple of more questions beyond what is written out here. So if you can verbal RC 55 for 99 percentile, it could be about 62, 63 marks. DILR, I would believe that 56, 55 plus 56, 57 would be about 99. Quant, it could go to let's say a 66 kind of a thing. To me, the important thing is if you get a 97 percentile in each of the three sections, you will end up with a 99 percentile overall. So as someone who's looking at only the IIMs and the top institutes, for him or her, the target has to be to get a 97 percentile in each, or worst case get a 95 percentile in one and a little more than 97 percentile in the other two. If you add up these three numbers, 55 in VRC for 97, 51 and 61. That makes it 160, 165, 167. 167, 170 is something which is likely to be a 90 percentile this year if the level of difficulty is what we discussed.
Right.
And again, if you look at a 95 percentile in each of the three, you are likely to be about 97 to 98 percentile. Yeah.
So another thing that we must also see is which is look at these gaps. So if you're at 85 percentile and then let's for example take DILR for instance, 36 is at 85 percentile and 15 is about 97 percentile. The gap is probably about 14 marks, which I think will be about 5
questions. Four questions.
Four questions. 4 questions means one set. This is very important. You getting 97 percentile and 99 percentile at the end of the day would be a difference of 1 or 2 questions, right? So now let's say that whoever is currently getting 95 percentile in mock, let me make this statement once again. Whoever is getting more than 95 percentile in mocks has a very high chance of being the 100 percentile in CAT. What that requires is how did you manage that 2 hours on the day of the CAT? Yeah, GP. Yeah. And if you are in 95 percentile and move to 97%, it's a matter of 2 to 3 questions. That one question so yes, there's an element of luck there if you want to be a topper. But yeah, so I'm sure that you have noted down your numbers that you want to target. Huh?
Yeah, and just one thing which you need to remember is this number of 85 percentile. Those of you who are not strong in a particular area, just make sure you manage this. For example, if you are strong in 2 of the 3 sections, you get a 99 percentile in 2 sections and an 85 percentile in the third one, you'll still be 99 plus. So just make sure that in the weak section you don't get derailed by not even clearing the sectional cutoff.
So there's one interesting question that I saw. I can't see the question, but it said, what do I do? If you look at the mocks that I have taken, you will probably see me struggling somewhere in DILR. And my attempts would be in the range of 18 to 21, depending upon how my day went. Okay. So I'm kind of, if on a day of, if it was my day, I'll be very jittery about my second section and hope that I'll maximize my score in VRC and QADI. And I somehow want to get about 95 percentile in DILR. So that's for me personally. Yeah. Okay. So what we now
just one more thing, Jijo. Whatever percentiles you are getting in your mocks, in your CAT, your percentile will be higher. So if you are averaging about 95 percentile in mock CAT, in the actual CAT, you are likely to be 97 to 98 percentile. If you are averaging 97 to 98 in mock CAT, you are most probably going to be a 99 to 99.5 in CAT. If you are averaging about 90 in mock CAT, you would be around 95, 96 in in the actual CAT. So remember, mock CATs are taken by serious students, and hence when you go into the actual examination, your percentile tends to go up because a non-serious crowd also joins you in the actual exam. Okay. So remember, wherever you are, most probably if you have a similar performance, you will be doing better in percentile terms in the actual exam. Yeah, Jijo.
All right. So now what we'll do is let's spend time on each of the section. Now this is for many of you are asking the question, what the hell do I do with now VARC? To me, the sample test has given me this. VARC is equals to RC. So there are 24 questions of our reading comprehension. That I believe is almost 70%. So what you normally find in this verbal section is problem will be never about attempts. You will attempt questions. But the issue is always going to be in accuracy. Okay, let's look at a certain scenario now. Assume you get 50% accuracy with a non-MCQ question. So there are 10 non-MCQ questions. You got, let's say, 5 of them correct. You get 15 marks. And then what we need is, let's say, to hit about 50 marks, we need 36 more marks in RC. With a 100% accuracy, that's 12 attempts. With a 90% accuracy, that's 14 attempts. With an 85% accuracy, I think...
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just going back.
Yes, sorry. With 85% accuracy, 15 attempts, 75% accuracy, 18 attempts, 65% accuracy means you have to attempt every single reading comprehension question. So what you can do is probably do a little bit of maths. So this was a question that was asked to me. See, I am always of the opinion that if you're not sure, don't mark. Okay, but then there are those who say that, sir, I'm sure of this when I'm taking the test, but when I go back home, I get this wrong. My accuracy is about an X percentage in reading comprehension. What we want to figure out is now it's the time you have to make a simple game plan. What is the score that you want to go with VRC? Okay, and then kind of back work and come out with a number that you want to attempt with respect to reading comprehension. So I think about 75% accuracy with 18 attempts, or an 85% accuracy with the 15 attempts. I'll be very happy with the 90% accuracy with 14 attempts. Anything?
Yeah, I think the critical thing for all of us to remember is RC is going to be the game changer this year with if the sample paper structure remains. And typically, if you can get this part of the equation right, you will be able to do well. So just make sure you practice a lot of RC in the next few days. Okay.
So I just saw a question which said, is it possible to attempt 18 questions in reading comprehension? Somebody just asked this question. So if you look at the sample paper that they've published, these 24 questions were from just 5 reading comprehension passage. And if I assume that on an average I take about 8 minutes per reading comprehension passage, including the question and reading and everything, 8 5s are 40, and we still have 20 minutes. If we get 9 minutes per reading comprehension passage, is it technically possible to solve all the RCs, actually? So yes, you can attempt about 18 questions in RC. And this is when we're going to now, on the left hand side is GP snap and his tips, and the right hand side is my snap and my tips. Okay, so this is where we might have a different specific tips, but overall, GP, want to give it a shot?
Yeah. In fact, I'll just continue from what you are saying. That is it possible to attempt 18 questions? I think 18 out of 24 is what I would want to. I'll say choose the passages to attempt which you are comfortable with. To me, that is going to be critical, which means attempt 3 to 4 passages. If you are going to attempt 3 to 4 passages, that is going to give you 3 passages of 6 questions would be 18 questions. 3 passages of 6 and 3 is 15 questions. And so to me, something like 18 questions is not a difficult thing. At the least, I would want you to attempt 3 out of 5 passages. My target as an individual would be 4 out of 5. As an individual, I would leave one passage which I find very difficult or time consuming or from a subject or a topic that I don't understand at all. So if I was taking CAT as a student, I would be looking at 21 out of 25 to be attempted in this particular section of RC, and which means 4 passages out of 5. That would be my target. And to me, again, the same calculation that Jijo did a couple of minutes ago will hold. I would look at doing something like a 40 minutes for RC, 10 minutes for the MCQs with the zero negative, and 10 minutes for the non-MCQs. That will be the broad structure in which I would work in the paper, which gives me something like 10 minutes per RC passage. I can comfortably do it. And hence, I may even end up doing a 5 passage. But from my point of view, please ensure even if you are very weak in RC, please do at least 3 RC passages. If you are reasonably good, look at 4. If you are very good, you should definitely go all out and do all for all the 5 questions of all the 5 RC passages. Okay, and I'm sure I've said this a number of times, that's why I don't need to repeat. But since it's here, let me repeat. The question paper button is something which you should use for RC. Open the question paper, you'll have the entire passage in front of you. Reading will become much more easier. And in VRC, all non-MCQs I will mark. In a parajumble, if I can't make head or tail of anything of the parajumble, I'll just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if I know that 2 and 4 have to be necessarily together, I know that 2, 4, and 3 is a sequence. I'll write 2, 4, 3, and the remaining 2 statements I'll just put somewhere and move on with it. All non-MCQs I'll mark an answer, but the MCQs and the RC, which again is MCQ, is where I would want to maximize my score. Yeah, Jijo, over to you.
All right. So now there were some 5-6 questions that got bombarded in the chat. Let me address a few questions before I start. The question someone asked was, how is the RC passage in the mocks compared to RC passage in the CAT? One is we don't know what is RC passage coming in the CAT, but I can talk about with respect to the subjects that are tested. For example, I remember in the mock 22, there were couple on philosophy and the many questions on one on arts. The subjects were difficult. you will find that in the CAT at best, this is my prediction. At best, you will probably have one RC passage where the subject is difficult. You should be able to manage 5 RC passages comfortably. Sorry, 4 RC passages comfortably. This is my take. Now let me address. Let me address how I take. So for those of you who have seen me taking the mock test, you have seen me doing this, attempting all RC passage. So again, let me give you my logic. Is that I take about 5 minutes reading the RC passage, and I take about a minute per questions. If at all I get confused with any of the questions, I don't dissolve it. I skip the question and I move on. That's how I am able to do about an RC passage in about 7 to 8 minutes. The reason why you are taking time in a reading comprehension passage always is not because of the passage. It's because you're stuck to a question and you decided you'll spend 2 to 3 minutes in the question because you're confused between option A and B. Okay. What I do is, if at all the moment I get confused, I skip it and move on. This is my humble submission and suggestion, is that if there is that 1 RC passage or a 2 RC passage that you cannot solve for whatever is the reason, let's say you are left with about 5 minutes, just have a look at the questions once of those RC passages that you're leaving. If at all there is one question, probably 1 or 2 questions that you can probably do by skimming or scanning, attack it. But my take is, whatever is the style that you're going to adopt, in 40 minutes, what we need is about 12 questions. Net correct. Let me repeat. In 40 minutes, if it is about in 40 minutes you are solving 2 RC passages with 6 questions each, 20 minutes, you've taken all the time that you've taken. You marked all the 6 questions accurately in the first RC passage, all the 6 questions accurately in the second RC passage, be it, or if you're someone who is reading all the 5 RC passages, the net game plan is to get 12 questions correct in 40 minutes. Whatever that plan is, please remember that we still have 7 days. And we know for sure, we have no clue what the 10 questions of non-MCQ is going to be. But we know for sure there will be RCs. And if you can still work on your RC, 40 minutes, can I somehow get 12 questions correct? And that should be don't give up. Even today, it's just about, what can I say? 12 questions in 40 minutes. Now, there are other questions that people are asking, what should I start with first? This is what I will do. I'm not suggesting that my way of solving the best way of solving. I will start with the 10 questions on all the MCQs which have options, all the non-MCQ questions which have options, if it all is there. And then go to the RC, and towards the end solve all those odd sentence in a sequence or paragraph jumbled without an option. So it's up to you the way what you want to do. But the key is, at the end of the day, verbal ability will be about, at the bare minimum, get 12. Imagine this: you're getting 12 questions correct. That will be 36 marks. Look at 12 questions out of the 24. That's maybe 50% of the RC or 50% of the questions, right? So that's advice. So you still have, let's say, 1 or 2 days. If you're finding a verbal ability difficult, just focus again and get 40 out of the 40 minutes. Can you get 12 questions correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Just to add, Jijo, how I would attempt the paper, I would start with the MCQs. Okay. The pen seems to be struggling a bit. Okay. So I would start with the MCQs. I'll look at the non-MCQ. And any non-MCQ which looks difficult, time-consuming, I am not able to understand, I'll leave it and move on. And then I will do the RC passages. After RC passages, I'll go back again to the non-MCQs which are left. If I can get the answer, great. Otherwise, I'll mark an answer and move on. Okay. So that would be the way I would look at it. But as Jijo said, you have to individually work out what is the best strategy for you, what makes most sense for you. That is the way I would look at it. One question which has come a couple of times here is the sample paper. When you click the question paper button, it does not give you the question. That is a shortcut which possibly CAT has taken. Last year, in the question paper button, if you clicked on it, it gave you the RC passage and all the questions and the choices. And same with all the other sections. So question paper button is something which I strongly believe should be used judiciously, especially in the area of reading comprehension, DI and LR. Okay. Yeah, Jijo, over to you.
So where should I practice RCs from? I'm sure that you will have some mocks that is still left. Or there may be some questions on the test gems that is still left. or maybe even have previous CAT papers. Just time 40 minutes and get 12 questions correct. Okay. So we'll move on to the most dangerous one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, GP. Next slide.
Yeah, I'm just, it's a little slow. Rashika Sarna, can you please switch off your mic? There seems to be an echo from you. Yeah, DILR.
DILR is a deal breaker. And for all those of you, deal breaker, deal maker, it can break hard. The section where panic attack happens.
Jijo, just give me a minute. Let me.
Okay.
I think the lady Rashika Sarna. Let me just remove her. Rashika. Okay.
Now it seems to be fine.
Yeah, please continue.
So many of you have seen your mock score going up and down. And if you make a simple analysis and look at what DILR done to you, in a good DILR, your score will be pretty high, and a bad DILR bad. So let me tell you why. Yeah, GP, I think is it okay now? My audio. All right.
Yeah, Jijo.
So what is going to happen now? Fine, guys. So what is going to happen in LR? Let's take for example LR for a moment. Your score will jump by 12. Unlike in QA, you can solve one question. LR either is one whole set or nothing. So you're moving like 0 to 12 to 24 to 36 to 48. And therefore the percentile is jumping from 0 to 25 to 75 to 90 to 99. So that's a sad part about this DILR. So either you are 75 or you're 90. That's a question of one DL set or LR set or two LR set that you solved or did not solve. So we have to be absolutely careful with respect to DILR, and there's a possibility of frustration, panic, and the worst case scenario, taking the burden to QA. Yeah. So here are our tips, and let me give let the GP start, then I'll pitch in towards the end with respect to DILR.
Okay, those of you have already read my post on the sample paper and couple of other places would have possibly and seen me use the paper, do the paper, the mock CAT that I've taken. I don't use a calculator. To me, a calculator is a tool which is given to waste your time. I'm sure many of you disagree with it, but that's the way I'm comfortable taking the paper, and that's the way you are comfortable taking the paper. So to me, a calculator has to be used not for calculation purposes, but I will definitely use it in quantitative and for solving logs and other kind of questions. But when it comes to calculator for calculation, I might use it for a couple of questions. By and large, I would rely on my ability to solve questions mentally. If there's a very difficult calculation, I will use a calculator, but by and large, no. Secondly, I will focus only on those questions which are familiar to me. I look at those data sets which I know, which I'm comfortable with. Those are the ones I'm going to do first. Thirdly, I will start with the ones which are familiar to me. And by and large, I start, if you again look at the papers which I have taken, by and large, we'll find that I start with DI. The reason is partly because the DI is my area of strength. I'm reasonably good in terms of calculation and hence can do calculations fairly fast. The second thing also is DI is safer. In DI, I'll end up picking up the questions and solving them. I know I will solve them, and LR, if I don't understand, I'll possibly miss out on the complete data set. Okay. Then the next couple of things. If you get stuck in any data set, can't figure out, spend 4-5 minutes, maybe it's time to move on. Okay. And finally, when I'm looking at DILR, most of the mistakes in DILR are committed only because we end up calculating lots of things in a very small area. So if you use your rough sheet judiciously, you will find that you can handle DILR very, very comfortably. Make sure you jot down your data carefully. There's a neat table so that calculation mistakes and other such mistakes don't happen. Okay. Yeah, Jijo, over to you.
The end.
मेरा हैंग कर रहा है यार.
GP or GP, can you?
Yeah, Jijo, it's fine now. There was a small issue, technical issue. Yeah, it's over to you, Jijo.
So can you just click the button?
Yeah, it's.
all right.
Your tips are visible.
All right, I think we are back again. So I'm talking to all those of you who are frustrated with DLR, like me, for example. This is if nothing is working, blindly follow what I'm saying. Okay. Let me start by saying that DI is about choosing questions. LR is about choosing sets. Let me repeat. DI is about choosing questions. LR is about choosing sets. In a logical reasoning question, unless and until you don't crack the bloody sets, you can't answer the 4 questions. Let me also tell you there might be some DIs wherein unless you don't crack the whole story, you can answer the 4 questions. For me, practically, that is LR questions. When I talk about DI sets, there is a data given to me, and there are 4 questions. I broadly understand the data, look at each question, plug in the value from the data or information from the data, and keep solving. This is what I'll do. Is DI, like GP said, is safe. LR, I'll start solving LR question. After 5 minutes, God knows what is going to happen. Maybe I'm in the right track. Maybe I get confused. Imagine you're starting with LR, and after 5 minutes, you're not able to reach anywhere. What is going to happen is panic attack. When the panic attack happens, your mind will freeze. So the best way, to me, is to handle DI first. When I said DI first, you pick DI questions. So this is what you do. You read a question, read a set, spend about 2 to 3 minutes understanding the set properly with all your heart, all your mind, with the whole purpose of solving the DI set. Pick questions. For example, out of the 4 questions, you found out 2 questions were easy. You pick those 2 questions were difficult. You leave it for later. Go to the next DI set. Maybe set DI set. Maybe it will be about 6 to 8 questions you can knock off, I believe, in about 15 to 20 minutes. And then go to that most harmless looking LR and solve one of those in a half an hour's time. If you do this, and I'm sure that the next half an hour will be awesome. The problem happens in DLR is your first half an hour, at some point in time, we get stuck, something does not happen, and you don't know what happened to the entire set. So if you normally look at the way in which I have taken any of the mocks, I think I've taken 3 mocks now. You look at what I did in the last 15 minutes, complete panic. I don't know what I've done in the last 15 minutes any of the mocks. In one of the mock, I did not solve even one question. But what I did was somehow postpone all the panic to the last 15 minutes. Please look at this. It's the first time ever that CAT has given a DILR set separately and given you a time limit. In the earlier days, when DILR was separate, QA was separate, and RC was separate, you had 2 hours or 2.5 hours for taking entire sets. If you get stuck, you can always come back. In this case, that after that 1 hour, you can't come back with the DILR. So again, it's just that the next, let's say today or tomorrow, if work out a game plan, a simple game plan which says that I will start with DI, I'll choose questions. My whole objective is the first 30 minutes, let me solve about 8 to 10 questions, and then you do all the R&D. And again, I'm saying that please solve neatly. I'm assuming that the CAT will give you unlimited paper. Okay, like GP was saying. GP was saying that you solve. I'll solve one LR set in one sheet. Okay, so somebody's thinking what is the ideal time to solve a LR set? About 8 to 10 minutes. Some of you may take more than this, 10 to 12 minutes. what you don't want to do is make some silly errors, not picking up the right data in LR, okay, and messing it. So it's about 8 to 10 minutes is what I believe. You will find some bouncers of LR questions. You're familiar ones. So DI first, choose questions, move to LR, and then push all panic towards the end. And this. How many A4 sheets will be given at the center? I think last year we had unlimited sheet. Yes, VP? Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Huh?
You could ask for as many sheets as you wanted. Some of the centers obviously had an issue with it, but most of the centers there was no issue. And one thing which I would like to highlight again, something which I always keep repeating, please use this question paper button for DILR. Okay, question paper button is important for me. To me, it is important to look at all the set, all the data, and all the questions together. So that is possible only if I click on the question paper button. And spelling is right now. If I use the question paper button, open the question paper. Now some of you may have seen me using the choices of questions as a means to improve my data. That again can be done only if I have all the questions in front of me. So to me, this question paper button is again an important item, which I want to just remind you that that's something which is available to you. Okay.
Let me give a shout out. I'm sure that you've done enough DILR in your practice. You've been day in, day out. You've practiced a lot of DI. You've practiced a lot of LR. So knowledge is not a problem. The issue is going to be how calm you are in the DLS. And keep talking to yourself, pat yourself in the back. It doesn't matter. Act crazy in the papers. Be thrilled. Be excited to do this DLR. I think all energy. And in this one section, if you can handle in the middle. So in VARC, you will have a lot of greens. Okay, that will never be a problem. The problem always going to be, when I say greens, it's the green color button, right? So when you will attempt a lot of questions, the issue is that you'll figure out it went really bad after the test. But during the test, there is no issue, no panic when you do the first section. But in the second section, that will happen, yeah? So it's just can keep your calm. I think this is, and that's a question of, to me, it's about solving DI first. That's what I think, yeah?
Yeah, just one last thing, because a couple of questions have again come. How many to solve from each? I just want to highlight this. I would look at 3+2 in general. If I look at last year's CAT paper, and based on that, I would say I would look at attempting 3+2. It could be 3 DI in 2 LR, or it could be 2 DI in 3 LR. To me, this is important, which means I am ensuring that in both the areas, GI as well as LR, I am able to do the 2 easier sets. And in my area of strength, I'm even looking at doing 1 difficult set, or if it's a slightly easier paper, maybe 2 difficult sets. So something like 5 sets of data, 20 questions. On the higher side, 6 sets of data, 24 questions is what I would look at doing in DILR. Anything else, Chijo?
Nothing. I think there is somebody's asking me a question. What is the question paper button? That's kind of strange. Question paper button is one that you see on the right hand corner or the bottom level. If you click on that button, you can see all the questions in one shot. You obviously cannot mark there. You can, which is very important when it comes to VRC. Okay, so basically we are assuming that 24 RC. What if IMA is playing a prank with us at this? Okay, so that's the button.
Yeah, I'm sure, Jijo, 24 RCs, if it doesn't happen, most of the students will be very happy if it is only 16 RCs. So I don't think people will be really worried with that.
So somebody's asking how many questions will be there. Does attempt only? Somebody asked, can you take 4 to 5 minutes? 4 to 5 minutes is too much of a rest. I think about 30 seconds, 1 minute is good enough. Yes, you can take a rest. There's no problem. So you take a rest after your first half an hour. So you're kind of comfortable that that you have cleared your cutoff. Yeah. Okay. Let's
move to the next one.
Next, Kushal is asking, is it fixed that will have 4 sets of questions? That is what the sample paper is saying. I think we'll go with that. Yeah. How should I avoid panic during solving? That's all. Solve it neatly. That's it. Okay. You have a lot of time. QA is, I think, GP is your favorite area, I think. To me, it's first 30 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. To me, it's first 30 minutes. The story is first 30 minutes. I think the last first 30 minutes, if we can clear cutoff, QA is done. Which means trying to solve 12 questions. in the first 30 minutes, which is like your round one. What normally happens is that we waste in the first 30 minutes, we get stuck in one question, we spend 4 minutes, we stuck in another question, we spend 5 minutes, we stuck in another question, we get another 5 minutes. Before you know it, number of questions that you got stuck adds up to about 15 minutes out of the first 30 minutes. Then it's a disaster. Okay, what you have to do is don't get stuck. Start from question number one, read the question. If you understand, great. If you don't understand, move to the next one. If you understand the question, you get a sense, can I do it fast? Can I do it slow? If I can do it fast, keep on solving it. For someone who is pretty good in maths, at about 1 to 2 minutes should be a target per question. That's what you'll pick. For someone who are weak in maths, 3 minutes, one. You need 3 marks per minute. Let me put it that way. Okay. Huh? Is that fair? Huh? 1 mark per minute, sorry. Every 3 minutes, one question. So you want 1 mark per minute.
Just to add, Jijo, what you said that first 30 minutes, can you go through all the questions the first 30 minutes and attempt maybe 12 to 15 of those? And if I look at last year's CAT paper, CAT 14, it was very easily doable. In 30 minutes, you could have easily attempted 15 questions and gone through the entire paper. Because what this will ensure is that you would have attempted all the simple or the easy questions, and in next 30 minutes you can look at maximizing your score. For some of you, it may not be 30 minutes, it may be 35 or 40 minutes, and for some it could be as low as 25 minutes. But the story always in CAT, whether it is DILR or Quant or verbal section, in all 3 of them, the story will always be what have you done in the first 30 minutes. That will determine what will happen to you in the paper. So the second 30 minutes, either you'll be maximizing your score or it will be a rear guard action trying to ensure you clear the cutoff. So first 30 minutes is what will decide the entire story for you in any of the 3 sections. Yeah, Jijo, over to you.
I just want to add that. So someone, let's say for me, was reasonably okay in maths. My maths is okay. So I end up attempting, I think the last one about 25 to 28 kind of a question. If you look at that in the first 30 minutes, my attempt would be about 16 to 18. And the next 30 minutes about 10 questions. Okay, so for some of you who are whole focus just clear cutoff, the first 30 minutes 8 questions, next 30 minutes 4 questions, which is about 12. Someone who really want to hit the higher percentile, the first 30, it's about what? I think about say 60-40, 60% of the question the first 30 minutes, 40% of the question the next 30 minutes. So if you get stuck, keep on moving on. Yeah. So yeah, GP. So next slide.
Yeah.
And
okay, let me start here, Gio, and again, let me start with that calculator item. That it's something that I'm not very fond of. In DI, I don't like to use the calculator for calculation, but I would definitely use the calculator for log questions, for maybe some of the remainder questions. If they're questions of trigonometry, I would not mind using the scientific calculator. The scientific calculator would be a boon for people like me because I would straight away solve logs and similar questions using it. But when it comes to calculation, to me, it is a non-existent item until there is a huge amount of calculation involved. But if there is a huge amount of calculation involved, I might not do the question at all. Okay. Second, non-MCQs are likely to be easy. Anything which comes for the first time in any CAT paper is always an easy set of questions. The first time syllogisms came, they were very easy. The first time your deductive logic, parajumbles came, they were very easy. The first time summary kind of questions came, they were very easy. So any new question type always is easy in the first year. So this year we are likely to get easy non-MCQs. Next year they might become difficult, but this year they are going to be easy. Don't get stuck in a question. If you find any question remotely difficult, if you think you can do a question, don't do it. You do a question only if you are 100% sure you'll do it. So especially in the first 30 minutes, look at attempting only those questions which you are 100% sure of solving in 3 minutes or so. For those of you who are very fast or very good in quant, that could be 2 minutes. But in the first 30 minutes, look at solving only those questions which you are very, very confident that you will get the right answer. And if you have slightest bit of doubt, just leave it. Okay. And there will be questions you can't solve. There will be a situation at the stretch you will be leaving 4 or 5 questions. Should be happy with it. What that means is the subsequent questions are likely to be easy for you. Don't panic just because you have left 4 or 5 questions, because every paper will have questions that are randomly scattered, and hence you may get at the stretch easy question, you can get at the stretch difficult question. And what you need to make sure is when you get a difficult one, leave it. Even if it is 6 difficult questions left at the stretch, it does not matter. Yeah, Jija, over to you.
Yeah, so I think the first 2 points I've already mentioned. I think the people are asking important areas of QA. Very difficult to predict. But if you look at over the years, I think they kind of like algebra, geometry, uh, numbers, arithmetic. I think has been not that many in the past years. But you never know. Yeah, yeah, Banu. There will be no negative marking for all the non-MCQ questions. That is for sure, 100%. A few things. Keep everything very simple. Okay, it's a simple test. Okay, keep it simple. You read a question, you can solve it, you will solve it. You can't solve it, you move on. You keep on doing that, and that will be good enough. Okay, never get stuck. And one more thing, whatever happens with your DLR, whatever happens, maybe it has a complete disastrous DLR. You could do just one set of LR, and that's 4 questions. 4 into 3 is 12 marks. That's all you got. Still, you put your complete fight in QA. Please don't give up. Okay, this might happen. That you don't cry, come to QA and it's gone. Let me focus on next year. No. What if the cutoff of DLR is 12 marks? Who knows? Okay. So I think that you should never ever give up when you come to QA. This happens for many. I'm sure that in the mocks it happens. By the time you finish your DLR did not go well. You kind of don't want to do QA. Nothing doing. You start with QA, fresh mind. And whatever happens with the DLR, ensure that you do well with QA.
And Jijo, just to add to what you're saying, there are 2 reasons why you have to fight till the end. One, you only know how you have attempted the paper, you don't know how the others are doing. It is quite possible if you are struggling in the section, the others are also struggling, hence the cutoff is likely to be lower. Second reason for you to ensure you fight till the end is, apart from IIMs, MDI and XLRI, almost all other MBA institutes give interview calls purely on the basis of overall cutoff. They don't have a sectional cutoff. So if you are able to do well in 2 sections, but not in the 3rd section, but you have an overall score of, let's say, a 95, 97 percentile, you can get a large number of interview calls. So make sure you don't give up till the end. Giving up is very easy, believe me. You can give up whenever you want. But my suggestion would be, do the difficult task of continue your fight till the end, and then after you get the results, you decide what to do next. But in those 3 hours of the paper, those 3 hours you have to fight till the end, because all you know is you have done or you have not done well, you don't know about the others. And my logic is very simple. If I, after preparation, I am not able to do well in the paper, it is a difficult paper. If it is a difficult paper, everyone will be attempting less and the cutoffs will fall. Okay. Yeah, Jijo, over to you.
All right. So these are the 3 things. Don't get stuck anywhere. That's about it. Yeah. And let's go to the next slide. There are some question that is repeating that I think we'll address that towards the end. What to do in D-Day? Okay, I think 3 things I want to discuss. Okay, the second and third is what every school teacher would have told you before the exam, which is how to be the best self and how to stay positive. But the most important to me is the first part, which is what if there is some shock or a surprise. Okay, what to do? And this most of the time, remember what I said in the beginning, that the difference between a 99 percentile and an 85 percentile at the end of the day will be about what? About 6 to 7 questions. Okay, and this will be that one LR set or whatever, one RC passage. And it's a question of handling whatever shock or surprises. So let me spend time in that, and this is very crucial. Because for all that we are doing, all your prep is based on a certain assumption of what CAT could be. And there are 2 kinds of surprise that can come. One is a surprise for all, and the second is just a surprise for you. Okay. When I say surprise for all, it means this. Something unexpected. For example, the QA was very tough, or LRDA was very easy, or something. Something happened. There were no reading comprehension, for example, very unlikely. But let's say that happened. No RC. All the many grammar questions. Whenever such a thing happens, please understand everyone is facing the same problem. Whoever keeps calm will win. So if the paper is very difficult, you should be really thrilled because it's going to be difficult for all. I'm always worried about the easy ones. Okay, I don't like easy papers because easy papers gives chance to those guys who have started 1 month back their prep, and they can catch up with me. I like a difficult paper if you ask me. Anyways, okay.
And Jijo, just to give you example, just to add to what you're saying, CAT 2006, the quant was easy, DILR was moderate, English was very difficult, and it had FIJs. Now FIJs by nature are subjective, and they had appeared in CAT for after maybe about 20 years or so, or any MBA exam after 20 years. Now the people who started worrying about FIJ started saying, okay, how do I tackle it, are the ones who lost out. The people who said, okay, FIJ, let me see if I can solve, great. If I can't solve, let me leave it and move to others, are the ones who made it to the final list. So remember, anything a surprise for all is not a surprise because everyone is in the same situation. Yeah, Jijo, over to you.
And then there are these specific surprises for you. Let's say your worst fear. You don't like geometry, and you always skip geometry. For example, like me, skip geometry, and then you see, let's say, 15 questions in geometry. Okay. Or maybe some situation like this. Suddenly, in the middle of everything, the computer stops working. Okay. Or let's say whatever happens. So these are unfair situations. Just have to look at the larger picture. Don't give up. Focus on doing your best. If there are too many geometry and too many questions that you don't know, fair enough. Let's focus on the rest. So, but I think that it is for someone who is really prepared for the CAT, the second part may not happen. But the key thing is to understand that whatever is a surprise, whatever is a shock that CAT gives you, please just adapt. Which is why again I'm saying the first in the first minute, clicking on question button and just running through it gives an idea that you before the paper starts you can get an idea, get a sense of whether it is a paper which is the one that is normally used to solve during the mock or something drastically different. Yeah, GP.
Yeah. In fact, one question which has come is, what if the shock and surprise are BJP calling Bharat Bandh? Now that will be very strange. Ruling parties normally don't call the Bandh. It is the opposition parties. But for those of you who are from Delhi, remember there's a Airtel half marathon on 29th. So please make sure you reach your centers on time. And there could be something similar for other centers also. But just coming back to this part, a shock or surprise is something which you have to learn to handle. Remember, these papers are not about knowledge. When I look at CAT as a whole, this is a paper of temperament. It is your temperament, your ability to handle the unexpected, your ability to handle the shocks and surprises, which will determine whether you will make it to the next stage or not. You might be extremely knowledgeable, you might have all the knowledge in the world, but you can't handle a surprise or a shock. I'm sorry, you might not make it. So be calm. Remember, all of you will be in the same boat, and hence, if you just control yourself, ensure you are able to manage the situation, you will do well in the paper.
Let me also tell you that 2 hours of CAT is not a place to crib against me or GP. GPs have told me that the LRDI will be easy, but it was not. So that's not the time. The time is not to crib, nothing. That point is about you and your career, and it's all about you. And handling D-Day is a few things that I thought would be helpful. I think quickly we can be your best self. So small things matters a lot. One is
Jijo, let me just interrupt because you brought this up. In defense services, I'm very fond of using this statement. In defense services, there's a statement which is used very, very commonly. No plan survives contact. In a war situation, before a war, you'll do all kind of simulation, you'll do all kind of planning. But in the actual war field, what happens is something totally different. But all the planning helps you cope up with whatever is happening there. So you might have all the plans, but you still have to reassess your plans at that stage, which is why opening the question paper, clicking on the question paper button, going through the question paper, understanding the structure of the paper is important. Because you cannot live with a plan which you had thought would happen. You need to look at the paper and say, okay, this is a paper, this is how I am going to change my plan, and then move on with it. Yeah, Jijo, back to you.
All right, so let's move on to the next. You being your best self. These are small things, but I think that this will have huge impact. The first is, I know the test is on Sunday. Saturday night is not the time to have your beer, okay, or go to a party. You wake up early, you sleep early, have a balanced breakfast and lunch, wear comfortable clothes, okay. So before leaving home, check you have everything you need. What else? Head to the exam plenty of time. You don't want to especially for those of you who are going to different city. For example, I'm in Mumbai. My test center is in Pune. So if I were you, I would have probably I'll go one day earlier. I don't want to travel in the morning, reach the venue, and go to the toilet before the exam starts. Yeah, so you're not allowed to move out in the 3 hours. Okay, huh? Hit the question paper button, fine tune your plan, and then seventh one is very important. If your brain freezes, at some point it could happen. Close your eyes, look up, relax, and restart. Okay, this happens for many. Suddenly you go blank. So just about keeping you calm. That's what it is. And the eighth one is enjoy the 3 hours. Uh, this is what you've been waiting for. So all these months you've been prepping. Somebody has quit the job to prep for the CAT. So someone is a second attempt, someone is a third attempt. At the end of the day, if you can enjoy the 3 hours, tell yourself. I think tell yourself you're going to enjoy the 3 hours. It's going to be fun. It's a nice game that you're going to play for these 3 hours, and I'm sure that you'll come out great. Yeah.
Yeah, if you go back, if you could check out this movie called Chak De India. In the end, before the final, Shah Rukh Khan tells his team, "ये 70 मिनट तुमसे कोई नहीं ले सकता. These 3 hours cannot be taken by anyone away from you. So enjoy these 3 hours. These are your 3 hours. Put your best foot forward. Try your best. Don't give up. To me, the most important thing is don't give up till the end. You might panic. Your brains might freeze. As Jijo said, just close everything. Take a 5-minute break in the middle. No issues at all. You will come back and you will be able to do that. You'll be able to do well in the paper. Okay. So enjoy these 3 hours. To me, are extremely important.
And the last pivot, staying positive. Okay, a few things. The first thing is stop interacting with those who are already panicking. If you are the one who are panicking, you stop panicking and you don't speak to anyone who is already panicking. Tell yourself it's just a test, and at the end of the day, go with this attitude. Let's say you don't do well. It's going to be IIM's loss and not yours, right? You anyway going to do great things in your life. Act as though you are the only person in the room. You tell yourself every single day from today till the day of the CAT that you're going to have an awesome time in the CAT. You remember all the good things that did your prep time. Remember all the RC that you cried. Remember the enjoyment that you had when you cracked that question on tournaments which you could never solve. Remove all the negativity. Never give up. And there is a movie of James Bond. And James Bond saved the planet in 2.5 hours. It will end pretty soon. It's a 3-hour test. And then you will miss it after the test gets done. It's almost there. We're waiting for it, and I'm sure that be positive. I think be around positive people. Be around people like me and GP, for example. Okay.
Yeah. And remember, I won't say that about Jijo, but if someone like me with my academy record has been able to do reasonably well, I'm sure most of you can do much better. Yeah.
I know. I think what to do the next 7 days. I think this is what we'll do. Quickly do next. The GP. 7 days. Nothing much. I think there are few questions are in them which proc mocks to do now. We'll just do that. Day 1, that is today. Your job is to listen to us, which you have done. I think day 2, 3, and 4 is where you can do this fine tuning. Make a plan. I think you sit back and have a real assessment. What is the final percentile? Some of you have already decided that maybe I'll be happy with a 90 percentile or 95 percentile. Work out, put the numbers in place, take one mock CAT, a little bit of fine tuning, and do one more. And day 5 and day 6, I think don't do much. Day 5, treat yourself. Day 6, maybe watch a movie. I think Pursuit of Happiness is a good movie. And whichever is a movie that maybe Calvin and Hobbes read. Yeah. Chill out on the day 6. I don't think that anything you should do. Or do something that you're comfortable with. Some people before the exam has to revise some math formula for some reason. There are some of you, if you don't revise math for some reason, math formula will go out. So whatever you do, don't prepare too much on the last day. And then on the D-Day, you go and rock. Yeah, that's
yeah. Essentially, this now some of you have been asking in the questions as to how do I revise, what do I do? See, these are the days when I look at day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Day 7 in any case is a D-Day. So let's look at 2 to 6. Practice a lot. Do a lot of RC, do a lot of DI, do a lot of LR. The data sets which you get stuck with, do them a couple of times. Because DI, RC and LR are all about exposure. The more you do, the better off you become. You take a couple of papers just to make sure you are in tune with the paper. Take these papers at the same time slot at which your actual paper is. So if your paper is Sunday morning, take these mock CATs on Sunday in the morning slot, 10 to 1. If your paper is on Sunday afternoon, you take these papers in the afternoon slot of 2 to 5, so that your body clock also starts working. And as Jijo said, last couple of days are only about revision and maybe relaxing. And yeah, you could watch a movie. You could a movie which is senseless movie, a typical Bollywood movie would not be a bad option. Akshay Kumar movie which is senseless would make sense. Ram Ratan Dan Bhayo may be a useless option, but I leave that to each one of you decide what you want to do. Yeah, Jijo.
Yeah, and yes, that's about it. Which mocks to look at? I think the last four mocks, 22, 23, 24, 25. I
Yeah,
think,
20 to 24.
20, so I think those mocks would be crucial. Yeah, हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन दीपक. Yeah, sure. Yeah, GP next. Don't forget to be awesome. We are awesome people. We'll do awesome thing on D-Day. We have done whatever we have done, and the difference, ladies and gentlemen, between 99.99 percentile and 95 percentile is going to be calmness. Keep calm. Keep telling yourself you will rock. That is for sure, right? And the story will not be over. And post scat, some of you will have to come back to the whole thing again. That, which is a complete different ball game. There is decision making. There's a snap which has got GK. And what we'll do is, GP, you can click a button.
Yeah.
Is we'll come out with, I think, a study plan for that snap, depending upon the test that you're taking. We'll also be doing certain sessions. Of course, in the centers, we'll be doing those sessions on decision making otherwise. And I think we're also planning to do certain decision making sessions online as well. And the second stage, which is PI. Remember, your CAT result, I think, will come in the end of December. Okay, huh? And your IMA will start giving you the interview call from mid of Jan. You might not have too much time. For some schools, you will have time. Some of you already done well in NMAT, which is greater than 210 marks, or IFT. You have a sense. So you must once the CAT is done, get prep for the second stage. Remember, second stage is also pretty crucial. And as always, we'll be there to help you out with all the process. Yeah, GP. Huh?
Yeah, I'll say let's move on to the questions now which we have taken. Jijo, if you could open the Q&A box. I have opened the chat box, so you take up the Q&A questions. I will take the questions from the chat box. Can you look at those Q&A questions, Jijo?
Yeah, sure. I'm doing those.
Great. Okay.
Let me pick some questions. I am scoring 99% in QALR, but just 85 percentile in VARC. This is from Pratik. Pratik, I think it's finally going to boil down to RC. What you must do, Pratik, is that in the next 3 days, focus just on RC. Solve, I think, at least about 5 RC sets, no? 5 RC sets. So at least 2 such tests every single day. Focus on getting about 12 questions correct in 40 minutes. Plan that. And I'm sure that it should be fine. Pratik is saying RC is pathetic. Pratik, at the end of the day, for all those of you who find RC is difficult, Pratik, at the end of the day, it's getting 10 questions correct. Let's start from there. 10 correct, 10 correct. 10 into 3 is 30. 10 correct. The remaining non-RC, I'm sure that you'll get about 15. So 30 plus 15, you'll get 45. 10 correct. 10 correct in 40 minutes. Just focus on practice. Next couple of days, just focus on this. How do I get about 10 questions correct?
Yeah, Jijo, I've just opened the slide because I can see quite a large number of students asking how much should we be attempting in each section for what score. So those of you who are looking at, these are our estimates. Broadly, we are saying these kind of net scores should be get you these kind of percentiles. This assumes that verbal RC, VRC section will be more difficult than last year's CAT. This assumes that DI-LR is exactly the same as last year's CAT. And QADI again will be marginally more difficult. With those assumptions, these are the kind of scores that we are thinking. If you can manage these scores, these are the percentiles you get. And if you get a 97 in each of the 3, you end up with a 99 plus. Okay. So hopefully this will take care of large number of questions which you have. One more thing which is again students are asking again and again. How as a SC candidate or a ST or a physically handicapped student, how many should I be attempting to clear the cutoff? I'll just write down that number also. Okay, pencil tool. For OBC. Okay, Jijo, you can take over from here. I'll just take a few other questions while I write down this data.
Okay, so there are there are a lot of questions that is bombarding. Sachin, I missed your question. I'm really sorry. Uh, uh, Let me pick some questions. Uh, Subhi, this, I, so about these attempts, whoever is looking at attempt, this slide that is on the screen would be good enough. Somebody is asking, will there be a 2 to 3 minutes break between section? I don't think so. It will continue. We'll immediately move to the next one. You probably can take a minute break if you want. Amar is saying I'm able to attempt all 5 RCs with about 18 attempts. Though in questions on inference, I always tend to go wrong. Even after trying my immediate, can you give me any advice on this? If you tend to go wrong in those kind of questions, maybe you can avoid those. It's about trying to if you can try and figure out answers as to why you are actually getting it wrong, it'll be fine. But at the end of the day, if the answers are not coming, it's better to avoid questions that you make mistakes. I score, Tejbir is saying I score low in QA every time, sometimes as low as 25 marks. VRCLR is sorted out. I'm not having much joy in QA. What to do? I fumble a lot. The Tej, 25 marks, we need to get that to 36 bare minimum. That is just 12 questions. You have those 10 non-negative questions. Try and get about 5 of them correct. That will make you 15. And then just focus on your first 30 minutes. Pick the ones that are easy. And then Stuti is asking me, should I practice syllogism FSA questions right now? I don't think so. It probably would be a real waste of time, because what we don't know is that 10 questions, which is non-RC questions, what is the composition of those 10 RC questions? It can be anything from grammar to vocab to para-jumble to para-completion. But what we know for sure is RC will be there. So if at all you want to focus energy, effort, I think RC would be important.
Also, Jijo, RC practice will ensure you'll be able to do well in summary questions. You'll be able to do well in critical reasoning questions and inferential questions as well. So to me, if I have to pick up one thing to do when it comes to verbal RC, I'll do RC, because RC not only helps me in RC, it helps me in other areas as well. Yeah, Jijo.
Somebody is asking me tips of para-jumble. The non-MCQ para-jumble with 5 options always very dangerous. I never get them right. I think hardly 1 or 2. If there are 4 options, it is something that you must get 4 sentences, must get them right. It's just about pushing it towards the end. Don't try and solve it in the beginning. It's going to take time. Non-MCQ, 5 sentences, and then hope that you got the connections correct. How many mocks one should say? I think about a couple of 2 mocks. How important data sufficiency? Sakshi, it is unlikely that it will come in the CAT, in the DI. If it comes, then it's fine. It's just like maths. I'm 75 to 85 percentile. This is Krishna asking me. I am 75 to 80 percentile in VRC and QA 95 percentile. What should we do to get to 97 percentile up? And VRC 85 percentile, which means about 6 more questions, which will be 1 more RC passage. Sorry, for improving your accuracy. I think VRC, the way in which attempting more will be difficult. What you can focus on improving accuracy. In QA, you have to attempt more. That largely happens. Largely can happen if you don't get stuck. Krishna, don't get stuck with any of the questions. Score in 150 in CL mock will ideally be about, I think, about 170 in actual CAT. So 150 in CL mock will be 160, 170 in actual CAT.
Yeah. So let me take a couple of questions. Okay. I just to repeat, this slide gives you the percentiles and this portion out here at the bottom. I have mentioned to clear cutoff how much you should be scoring. And this is for to clear cutoff, a general category candidate needs to score 85 percentile. For the others, these are the kind of rough numbers you can look at. These are not exact, but broadly this is what you should be looking at. Okay. Someone's asking, my mock percentiles have been fluctuating. In this 1 week, all you should do is then revise a lot. Revise a lot. Fluctuating percentiles typically mean that you have been not revising, and hence when you get questions which you are very comfortable, you do well, otherwise you don't. And in any case, I think in the last 7 days, you should be revising a lot. Where should you practice RC from? TestGem Lite, topic-wise, start doing RC tests in TestGem Lite. Start from the middle level. There's got 3 levels, beginner, advanced, and expert. start from the advanced level and go up to expert if required in RC. In quant, DILR start from the basic level and go up to the advanced level. You need not worry too much about the expert level.
Yeah, somebody's asking for those who are working, and then GP gave an advice that you must take the mock during the time of the CAT, but then you're working. So it is fine. So nothing can be done. You take the CAT, mock CAT in the evenings. Try and so that's still fine.
Another question, sir, will evening paper be more difficult? How to avoid silly mistakes? We don't know which paper will be more difficult. My guess is both papers will be almost the same level of difficulty. Last year, the 4 papers were almost similar in terms of degree of difficulty. And how to avoid silly mistakes? Silly mistakes happen because we rush. We try to move through the questions very fast. Read the question carefully, read the passage carefully, read the choices carefully. Don't try to move faster than what you can. That is the only way to avoid silly mistakes. Okay. Yajya.
Yeah. I think.
Hopefully, we have had.
There are a lot of questions that are still coming. Is there any way that we can take these questions and answer them through mail or something?
Yeah, I think we can. Let me just look at it. Okay. I think that shouldn't be an issue. We can take these questions. Most of the questions, I think, when I'm going through the chat box, I find most of the questions we have answered. Okay, there's a question says I've left grammar and vocab. It is fine. Yeah, it's fine. You see, in these next 4-5 days, your target has to be to ensure that whatever you're good at, you become even better in that. What you don't know, just forget about it. Okay, just forget about it. Do one thing and make a success out of it, and everything else will follow. If you look at, I'm sure all of you know Hero Cycles, Hero Group. It started with cycles, the best cycles in the country, and that is where it has led to the Hero Group. It has become one of the biggest company in the country, and it has now running a full-fledged university, which is doing very well, and it has got MBA programs and other programs as well. So you can look at to me the bottom line always is, what is that one thing you'll do as better than anyone else, and that is true as far as this paper is concerned also. Whatever you're good at, do well in that area. I am sure things will fall in place in the other areas as well.
Raj is an interesting question. Will there be incorrect grammar or spelling mistakes or typos in the CAT? It is possible. There have been cases where the questions were wrong also in the CAT. It's possible, but not really. Probably about one maybe. Yeah.
If you compare to IIFT, yesterday's paper IIFT, 2 data sets were incorrect. 1 data set of LR was incorrect. Couple of questions in quant, adding up to about 13-14 questions, they are incorrect. Okay. So don't expect such a thing to happen in CAT. It is going to be one, maybe a couple of questions at best, which might be ambiguous or which may have errors. Okay. So that is what you need to remember. Things will be fine, and if you find the question is incorrect, don't worry, leave it and move on. If it is an incorrect question, you will in any case get marks for it. If it is a correct question, then you have not understood, you can't solve, so in any case you have to move on. So don't worry just because the question appears to be incorrect. Okay.
Yeah, so somebody is asking me, I got a predicted percentile of 88.89. Do I need to take 2 mocks in these 6 days? I think you take the 2 mocks in 6 days, irrespective. And try and push. Look at a score, how much ever you can push. Think of some plan that you can work with. Each of the section, clearing the bare minimum cutoff. I think 12 questions net correct. So these are our contacts. I think I've not been picking calls in the last couple of weeks, largely due to my health concerns. But today I'll be there, so you can once as soon as we log off, these are my numbers. You can call either me or GP, and we can speak over the phone today.
The recording of today's session will be available in your SIS also, so that should not be a problem. Okay, one more question which has come. I think we need to address that. Accuracy, will it impact your percentile? No. Percentile is a function of raw score only, so your net score. Okay, so if you get 50 marks, one gets 50 marks with the 3 correct and 3 incorrect answers, another gets 50 marks with 6 incorrect answers. Both of them will get the same percentile. So please forget about this part, that will my accuracy impact my percentile. Accuracy impacts your percentile because it leads to wastage of time. Your score goes down, but not otherwise. Okay, and the recording of today's session will be available in your SIS. If you have missed the initial part, or if you had some login issues, you can always connect there and go through it. Okay.
All right. Okay. Okay. So thanks a lot, and wish you the very best for the CAD. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Thank you very much. All the best. I'll be closing the event now. Thank you.